Hey everyone, welcome to the Vagabond VC podcast. Today's guest is Doménica Obando. She is the CEO of Talently, which has built a program for software developers in LATAM to help train them with 21st century digital skills necessary for today's startups and help them land a job. I think this was a timely interview given today's labor shortage of developers worldwide. Talently is based in Peru, but Doménica is currently based in Mexico City, where she is expanding the company. We did this call remotely over Zoom, so let's jump in. Hey everybody, excited today to speak with Doménica Obando. She is the CEO of Talently, a tech-focused startup based in Lima. She is currently in Mexico City. So Doménica, welcome to the program.
Hi, Seb. I'm super happy to be here.
I'm super happy to have you. And I'm excited to jump right in. I want to learn what exactly is Talently and what is the problem that you are working on?
Perfect. We are a net tech dedicated to help tech talent in Latin America to 2x their salary in only 3 months of preparation. We help them to overcome the problem to develop soft skills so they can access to better jobs, not only local jobs, but especially international jobs. We help them to work in US and Latin American top tech companies or startups growing or in the region.
Great. So you have this 3-month program. How is it structured? Walk me through someone who's applying for this program who wants to either become a developer. What are some of the prerequisites that they need to become a part of this program, and how is the curriculum structured for them?
Super. So let's imagine I usually use this example about Samuel, who is a great Bolivian senior Android developer. And he had an interesting trajectory in a Latin American companies like Avantica or others similar. And then he wants to turn their career into the US market. And there are like huge incentives to move to the US market, like not only salary, but also learning the latest technologies, more interesting practices and best practices in dev and everything. So he applies to Talently. We validate his technical skills and also his motivation to join the program and to get a new job is good for us. Then Samuel is enrolling into the program and he receives preparation in 3 topics, which are employability topics, which includes improving his LinkedIn profile. So companies comes and look for him, for resume, portfolio, interviewing, salary negotiation, and others. Also, he has the opportunity to talk with other developers in English every day in live community-driven sessions led by an instructor. And finally, he reinforces his fundamentals of computer science, so he really can exceed expectations in the technical tests and challenges that he is going to have. After the first month of preparation, he opens his mind and he tries to really apply to the best possible companies. In the case of Samuel, after 2 or 3 months of preparation, he got an offer in IRL, a recent unicorn in the US based on San Francisco, also as a senior developer, and really learning from a very interesting team. Our aspiration is that Samuel in the future, after learning from US startups, can start a company in Bolivia and really get the first Bolivian unicorn.
Okay, so obviously there is a definite need for this, right? Because if these developers are getting hired at unicorn companies, that means that what you are teaching them is actually effective in helping them grow their career. My question here would be, why did you start this? So there's a need there, but why you? What inspired you to start to solve this problem?
That's a very good question. And personally, I'm super passionate about education. I grew up in a small town in Peru and then had the opportunity to go to a top business school. And I was always interested, captivated from the different opportunities that soft skills provides to you. Because maybe my friends in this small town went and very well trained in the technical side of skill set, but myself had the best preparation in terms of soft skills, selling skills, interviewing skills, resume preparation, and really had much more interesting opportunities than them. So I was always very motivated in developing both soft skills and digital skills. Then I started an NGO focused on developing digital skills for teachers in schools, in public schools in Peru. And I also was able to see the huge impact of developing both digital and soft skills in this target that is unserved. And then during university, I was leading the software developers communities, like with Google Business Group and Google Developer Group. And I felt my passion in there. And yeah, combining that like passion for the dev community and this really believing on the power of soft skill in the employability potential of a person, and then this potential goes to every area of their life. I really decided to start Talently, and my co-founders and their personal stories are also very related with these. The case of Rox, she was always a tech recruiter, and she always had this problem of rejecting amazing candidates because of their English skill set. And Chris, he was a self-taught developer, and it was very hard for him to grow a career as in software engineer in Latin America. But yeah, I think our personal stories are very related with the problem and an understanding of the user and passion to solve that problem.
Last week, I was speaking with a VC located here in Lima, and we were speaking both about Peru in general, but also the broader Latin American ecosystem. And one of the questions I had asked him is, what do you think is one of the biggest problem areas for founders? And his response was, well, they would probably tell you access to capital. But honestly, one of the biggest barriers is access to quality talent. So I wanted to get your opinion on that. And what are also some of the specific gaps that are there related to tech talent here in Peru and in the broader Latin American ecosystem?
Okay, I think those are two questions. And I do not think that the biggest problem for Peruvian founders is access to talent, because we in Peru have amazing talent. Like really, region Latin America has to notice that. And I can talk about that later. But I think the first and the main obstacle is mindset. And I just come into Mexico City in the last 2 weeks. I just noticed that the conversation is so different. When you're in Peru, all the conversation is like, damn, politics sucks, and decision of the population is poor, and I don't know, and all the conversation is in turn of what we lack of, and the mindset is like, we have to grow in Peru, but Peru is so hard. We haven't grown because Peru has terrible political conditions and blah, blah, blah. So all the conversation is in there, is in what we lack of. And here in Mexico City, all the conversation is around opportunities. Like, look what's happening with the companies, look the opportunities for startup, look the funding that is coming to Latin America. This is great. This is the best time to be here ever. This is the best time to be a Latin American. And the conversation in Peru is not that way. And I think it's a lot of mindset. The important thing is that you, since the very beginning, established that you want to create a global company. In my case, because of my passion for Latin America, I always wanted a regional company that have a huge regional impact, and I'm fine with that. But if we try to really change this Peruvian mindset from a local perspective to a global perspective, I think that would make all the difference. And I think that's the biggest barrier for a Peruvian entrepreneur, that the ecosystem is not yet developed and is not aware of the opportunities we have in the ecosystem today. That's the answer to the first question. And to the second question, that is the talent opportunity. Talent opportunity is huge because mainly startups are not taking advantage of it. Startups today are in a bidding contest, like going for the top professionals in LinkedIn and fighting against the top 1% or what is considered the top 1% of talent, and they are really like losing so much opportunity on those folks that are great, that haven't worked at Rappi, and even though they have amazing technical skills, and we have to invest a bit more in training them so they can become a great startup operator. And I think that's a huge opportunity that founders in Latin America.
If you're a startup founder looking to recruit some tech talent here in Latin America, what are some of the tips that you would give to some of the startups looking to recruit?
Okay, I think approach of technical recruiters in Latin America is very LinkedIn based. So you are missing around the 90% of the market of potential developers, because mainly developers doesn't have a great LinkedIn profile. So I think we really need to look for it in other channels, like being closer to developer communities, and not specifically hiring tech recruiters, but also hiring dev advocates in their recruiting teams, and also bringing value to these developer communities is huge, because you really develop brand for developers in the region, and no one is tackling that opportunity. And actually companies in US are doing it already, and have some kind of vehicles to do that. However, I think today they have to start thinking only in tech recruiters, or only in these kind of tech hires that help them to have their developers happy once they are there, but it's also adding value to the developer community, to the external developer community constantly through communities. That is a huge opportunity. So you can get this amazing talent that hasn't the best LinkedIn profile, because those that have a great LinkedIn profiles are going to be expensive, real expensive.
That's interesting, as a different approach for sort of looking to acquire this talent. You mentioned earlier about the mindset here in Peru and how it could be more expansive, would be a good word for it, or maybe optimistic, and having a more global mindset from the beginning. You mentioned that you specifically had a regional focus. Help me understand maybe some of the history there and how you grew outside of Peru and approach other markets.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I went through the Singularity University program, and I think that helped me open a lot my mind. So I think these kind of transformational learning program are very interesting. So you can open your mind and really not think. I never thought about my business as a Peruvian business. And I think that's why always people think we're Mexicans and we're not Peruvians, because the mindset in Peru is a bit different sometimes. And I think that's important. And as I mentioned in Singularity University, that's something we wanted to create for developers. So we at Talently wanted to be this inspiration I had, so they can think big and being more ambitious in the companies they wanted to work for, and thinking in their career not only locally but globally. And that's also reminds me to the latest question, that is how to get these developers. And I think at Talently we're creating a very interesting community of software developers that are thinking bigger than others, and really are trying to develop their ambitions. And part of their ambitions is to be more attractive to the companies, doing a better job into the company, understanding the impact in the business. So definitely, I would love to talk with any founder or VC listening today, and really trying to get the best talent, and to understand that LinkedIn is not the only strategy to get them. And I'm happy to talk and happy to discuss of how we can help to get and to tackle that population of developers. That is great. And actually that's what we're building at Talently, like helping people from Peru, from Colombia, from Bolivia, from Mexico to think bigger and to really plan their careers. And I think this is going to make a huge impact both in the region and the capacity of engineers in the region for the future years.
Okay, so as you've been expanding the company, obviously you've been attracting some funding. I think you did participate in a 500 startups program, and then also you received a seed round recently. Are you able to talk through some of your experiences going through an official program and also working with VCs, and kind of maybe some tips for founders who are in Peru who are looking to start their funding journey?
Sure, I had a great experience going through accelerators. I first got into the UTEC Ventures program. I think it's the most important, most relevant in Peru. They have a great community. I really recommend it. Then I went through 500 startups program. I'm also fascinated with all the value they can add. I actually was part where I actually today talk a lot with the 500 startup team every day, I could say. And then I went, once we were more evolved, and after our pre-seed round, went through Latitude. And I think the quality of people you can find there is amazing. And definitely recommend the experience of any of those accelerators to any first-time founder. I think it is really something that helps you to think bigger and bigger, and to think yourself as a global and a regional company. I think that the experience was very interesting. Definitely recommended it. And then The other side is the pre-seed round we just raised at the end of the last year. That was a very interesting process. We never felt like we were Peruvian, so we had less chances. I think totally different. But sometimes the Peruvian talk and conversation is like, no, if you're a Peruvian company, you're in disadvantage. And I don't think so. I'm sure it's not that. I have a friend that has the 90% of his business in Peru and have raised from the most prestigious firms of EdTech in the US. So I don't think so, but it's always important to have a clear plan to tackle Mexico. In my case, my market was 50-50 Mexico and Peru and other countries. So I don't think it was a barrier for us. And yeah, the pre-seed round was quite quick to raise, and we're going for a seed round early next year and starting developing relationships with investors we want to have inside that round.
If I'm kind of understanding correctly, I think what it really comes down to is back to what you were saying about mindset, right? If you automatically start your company looking to expand and kind of execute on that principle, you're automatically going to attract investors, right?
Yeah, my advice there is you have to start in Mexico and Peru. You can leave Peru because you have so much advantage in there, like so much advantage, because if you're a Peruvian, you understand clearly how to win. And you mainly are the unique player because we don't have all the players in Peru, but you definitely should be in Mexico too, because that's going to be, like that you are demonstrating that you are looking yourself as a regional company.
This is going to vary obviously by sector and by business model, but do you have any tips for companies who are looking to expand? Like what would be the best way to get your foot into another marketplace?
I'm usually asked about that question all the time because people think that there is like rocket science behind that, the fact that you make Mexico your first market so fast. In our case, it's just like, just do it. Just do it. You don't even need to be in Mexico to make Mexico your first market. You only have to start like doing paid advertising the first month and to really understand what are the best possible channels for your business, but not rocket science. Just do it.
Easy enough. Get to work and execute. Earlier, we talked about some of the roadblocks here in Peru and in Latin America in general, but things have been changing pretty rapidly in this region over the last 5 years, particularly when it comes to startups and venture capital. So as we're kind of getting to the end here and looking towards the future, let's start with Talently. Where do you see Talently over, let's just say, the next 5 years? What are some of the plans that you have?
We see ourselves dominating the upskilling tech talent market, both from the talent and for enterprise. I see ourselves there in 5 years.
Easy enough. And then what about, say, if you can think back to Peru, where do you think Peru's ecosystem is going to be in the next 5 years?
I really want Peru going so big. I'm unsure because of the progress I'm seeing today, but I want to be, and I'm always optimistic. And I can definitely see Peru in 5 years with 2 or 3 unicorns already, like being, and those unicorns like really motivating talent to go to startups, really motivating founders to grow up every single day, and really like closer to today's Colombian ecosystem. I think that's where we can be in 5 years, and hopefully much more.
If investors or founders or anyone want to get in touch with you for tech or any other resources, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
Sure. Just reach me out by LinkedIn, Doménica Obando Vega, or just email me, domenica@talently.tech. TECH.
And I will include that information in the show notes for anyone who wants to reach out to Doménica.
Yeah, please.
So Doménica, I've been asking people since I'm here in Lima, all I've been doing since I've gotten here is eating. So I want to ask you, where should I go eat dinner tonight?
So delicious, right? I think any could be a great option. I think if you haven't go to Tanta or any Acurio restaurant, you should go, because part of the culinary story of Peru started with Acurio, with Gaston Acurio. And if not, I have this great place in Barranco called Isolina. And I think Yeah, dishes are so huge. And this last month I was in Peru. I never go there, so I want to go, like really want to go so bad, that I recommend you to go.
You are the second person to recommend Isolina to me, so I still haven't made it over there. Well, thank you for the recommendations. Everyone, if you want to reach out to Doménica, I will add her contact information in the show notes. Be on the lookout for Talently and their expansion into other markets. Doménica, thank you once again for being part of the program.
Thank you.
And
it was very nice talking to you, Seth.
Fantastic. All right, everyone, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.